I'm afraid that maybe I'll also die, and I don't want that to happen to me because I have a lot in my mind to do in future, and I don't want to die right now.
Rosemary Aidoo is supposed to be celebrating and basking in her sweet 16 age. Her mind is supposed to be focused on her aspirations. Sadly, she is brooding over her imminent death. Her mind is now fixed on death because many children like her have perished due to the lack of funds for dialysis. The agony of dying taunts her and consumes her mind. On 7th March 2024, I found her in a pensive mood when I arrived at her residence in Oyarifa, a suburb of Accra. Rosemary had just been hit with the news that another child had died. She formed a close bond with 5 other children who were all on dialysis. Now, she is the only one alive.
I get very afraid that one day something will happen to me. So when it comes like this, whenever I'm sitting, if I remember it, then I'll feel very sad. Thinking I also die, that's what happens to me.
She was diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease 3 years ago. Rosemary now looks pale, and it is obvious that she has lost a lot of weight. Her eyes are now bloodshot, and a deep look into her eyes shows emptiness. She also looks fragile. Walking for a few minutes leaves her gasping for breath. Rosemary's mother, Grace Aqueli, said the condition was discovered late. The news that her daughter was in renal failure hit her like a ton of bricks. And that was the beginning of Rosemary's woes.
Obeko kuma. Nti koba no so sore no onkasa onye hwe. Nti achire asana kasa na bae. Kasa no ba no wie nso no. Na nsu agina ne nti na watata kese pa ontumi nante. Mesu because me hwe sana wasi atata ye no. Me hwe sana wasi on fast. Me to me sumpa afi no aka nche se mama ja isu ai bibia wonya mesa kopete me bia yensa beka ske bia me de mbeko da no kwanya me nko aka oya ukrampa man ufia.
Rosemary has since been on dialysis, and the past 3 years has been a daunting battle as the experience after each session has been dreadful.
The dialysis, there's a lot of problem in it. Sometimes you go to dialysis, nothing will happen to you. Sometimes when you're on the machine, your BP can go low, or even your sugar, or even you can get cramps. Thinking you go for dialysis and come back healthy, rather you go and come back suffering rather. Sometimes when you go, they'll be at first when I started the dialysis, whenever I go for dialysis and come back, I will not sleep. until I get used to it before I started to sleep. Sometimes too, when I go for the dialysis to be healthy, I'd rather be weak unless 2 days time or a day before I'll get well.
Her medical condition has gravely affected her education and continues to fade her beautiful dream of becoming a medical doctor, which might just remain a dream.
During this last week, I was not able to go to school, so they have learned a lot. But me, I don't know anything about it. I'm now copying the notes, learning it. Well, this week Friday, we are going to write exam. I'm now learning everything that they have learned before I went. I want to become a medical doctor. I want to save people's life because I know sickness is the most painful thing in life. So what I go through, I don't want the young ones who are coming to go through that.
What looks like a boil on her left hand is the arteriovenous fistula, also known as AVF, which was created to enable her to undergo her dialysis session, but it collapsed due to low BP. However, due to the collapse of the arteriovenous fistula on her hand, a tunnel had been temporarily created on her right thigh to facilitate her dialysis session. But this procedure is limited and dangerous as it makes her prone to infection. Nonetheless, her mother is unable to afford a new arteriovenous fistula, which costs 3,500 cedis.
We can lose Rosemary at any moment from now because the TAR is not the best. Appeal to our leaders to do dialysis in general. They have to take a second look at it, especially for the kids.
Kojo Bafwa Hinkra, the president of the Renal Patients Association, says that between May and October 2023, about 19 patients died. Kidney dialysis is a procedure designed to eliminate excess water, solutes, and toxins from the blood in individuals whose kidneys are unable to perform these essential functions naturally. During dialysis, blood flows through a tube into an artificial kidney or filter known as a dialyzer. This dialyzer comprises two distinct parts separated by a thin wall. As the blood moves through one section of the filter, a special fluid in the other parts facilitates the removal of waste from the blood, typically lasting for about 4 hours. One dialysis session at the Kolebu Renal Unit cost 380 cedis, and Rosemary is required to do 3 sessions weekly, which is 1,140 cedis. She therefore needs 4,560 cedis a month. This excludes laboratory, medication, and transportation costs.
Our days are closed for dialysis, and there is no money, nothing in the house for us to eat before the one we will send for dialysis. Daddy, I don't even feel like eating. I feel sad for myself and my mother because the way my mother worries about the way I'm suffering. So when it happens like this, even if something is happening to me, when she asks, I will say I'm okay. Because if I tell her something, she also feel very sad. So I don't want to tell her anything.
At the Kolebu Renal Unit alone, more than 1,000 kidney patients receive treatment here, with over 300 undergoing frequent dialysis. Approximately 70% of these individuals are between the ages of 18 and 50 years. The units report around 30 to 40 new cases weekly, and on average, Over 10 admitted patients die because they cannot afford it. Last year, there were 6 adolescent patients, but sadly, 5 have died. According to Dr. Louise Avoclia, a physician specialist and nephrology fellow in training at the Kolebu Renal Unit, the situation is dire. He wants the government to include dialysis costs on the National Health Insurance Scheme.
It's a lot that needs dialysis, but they can't afford. You can't pay for all patients. Personally, I will support it and to be part of the National Health Insurance.
When I sit down quietly, I always think about someone who will help me to get out of this blabber, so that one day I also say that it was a past that I was in dialysis, not in present. But that dream have never come true, and I don't know if it will come true.
On 1st December 2022, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia said the NHIS will offer free dialysis to children.
The NHIS at least could cover treatment for children on dialysis to start with. The third goal now for us is to push for dialysis.
The big question is, why is the state delaying in fulfilling this promise? Rosemary is very sick and her family cannot afford the expensive dialysis and medicines she needs. Now, she is afraid of not surviving to fulfill her dream of becoming a doctor. Through her pains and battle for life, Rosemary is hopeful.
Onyameneme, asana yaome, and then I miss her, but now be messy, and then I meet her, but now be messy, when you're only mine, and only me, one son, I own me. And then I miss her. Be messy.
Reporting for GH1 News, I am Evelyn Araba Aidoo.